I'm Aaron, a birdie naturalist. Welcome to my channel, and Happy New Year! It is January 2nd, 2022. Start of a new year, and I want to talk about trash in the environment and maybe some stuff we can do this year to do something about it. So, trash. In particular plastic, but many other substances as well, are created and thrown away a lot by humans. Estimates are difficult to really dial in on, but very rough estimates range from anywhere from 8 million tons to 14 million tons of trash get away from humans and get out into the environment every year. By any stretch of the imagination, by any calculating system you care to use, that's a lot of trash. And it becomes a huge problem. And it's something that we all really should do something about. When plastic, in particular, gets out into the environment, it causes a whole suite of problems. There are chemicals in the plastics that leach out of the plastics into the environment. And these can cause health impacts on plants and animals. The physical plastics themselves can get eaten by animals and can choke animals that eat them, such as whales or sea turtles, and can just sort of fill up and contaminate them. Seabirds have been found bringing back to their nest a stomach full of what they think is food. And there is certainly food in there. Fish that they've caught, for example. But there's also a lot of trash, and they regurgitate this food out of their gizzard for their babies to eat. And so the babies are eating, some fish, some solid protein, but also their chicks are being fed plastic. And that's not nutritionally very useful for a baby chick, and so it causes health impacts in the form of reduced vitality, reduced growth rates, all sorts of problems like that. Physically, I'm sure we've all seen pictures of the seabird or maybe the seal or sea lion with one of those six-pack rings, those soda six-pack holders with the ring around its neck. Causes huge problems in that way. So, sort of to the physicality of an animal. And even more so, the plastics break down and become smaller and smaller and smaller pieces, which are known when they get really small as microplastics. And microplastics have the ability to get everywhere. They get taken into filter feeding organisms like mussels or clams or oysters. They become a part of that creature's body, and then when you eat the clam, you eat the microplastics. Microplastics can be a problem with plankton, the tiny little organisms that live in water in the ocean. By interfering with their ability to spread out, with their ability to collect light, with their ability to kind of grow the way they need to grow, to do what they need to do. And that can be hugely important. A huge portion of the air that we breathe, the oxygen that we get out of the air, comes from phytoplankton, so tiny little floating plants, single cell, tiny little floating plants in the ocean. And if you get a ton of microplastics out there, that mess with that phytoplankton and its ability to generate oxygen, that is going to have ripple effects for everything that's alive on this planet. So, plastics in the environment. Bad news. What do we do about it? Well, a lot of the plastics, in fact, a huge majority of the plastics that are out in the oceans came from land. We can do something about that. It's often tricky especially for, people, just single people like you and me, to go out into the ocean and collect a bunch of trash. But we can pick up trash on the street. We can pick up trash from local waterways, from parks, from the areas around us, while it's still on land, while we have an easy shot at it. And so this New Year's, it is January 2nd, this New Year's I am committing to doing exactly that. I'm going to come down to this local park of mine. There's a duck pond here and a little sort of grassy area with a picnic bench. Cute little neighborhood park. And I'm going to come down at least once a month for the rest of the year, for 2022. And I'm going to clean up as much of the trash as I can, as much trash as I can get to. You can do this too. Pick a park, pick a local area near where you live, and go out with a frequency that works for your schedule. Maybe it's once a week, maybe it's once a month, maybe it's once every other month. Pick something, commit to it, and clean up in 2022. All you need is a plastic bag, garbage bag, to collect the junk in. A trash grabber can be very nice. But if you don't have that, your hands work just fine. If you are going to go with your hands, I strongly recommend getting some plastic gloves. Keep yourself safe, keep yourself clean. Trash can get kind of gross. Rain boots, something so you can, comfortably get into an area and keep your feet dry and comfortable. Very useful, though not necessary. And that's really about it. Then the last thing you need is some place to take your trash when you've collected it. Often there are dumpsters around. There's a dumpster near where I live that I'm going to be dropping mine into. You can ask local landfills. You can ask local businesses even that maybe have a big dumpster. If you can just throw a bag or two in there once a month or so, they'll probably be fine with it. Just, make sure you have a plan. And then get to it. So let's see what happens here. Let's go along and see what I can find, see what I can pull out of this little pond. All right, well, this is what I got. My bag of treasures here. One thing that really struck me as I went along this little lakeshore and pulled out trash is really another reminder of how pervasive this problem is. I would look at a little stretch of the edge of this duck pond. Wouldn't really see very much, but I'd maybe see, a plastic bottle. So I'd go down and I'd try to pull a plastic bottle out. And while I was getting closer to that plastic bottle, and kind of getting closer to the ground and the edge of the water, I realized, there's also a candy wrapper sort of tucked over here, and there's a lighter over there, and another candy wrapper over there, beer can under this rock over here. It was kind of all over the place. Little bits of broken down styrofoam. There's a lot of trash out there to be collected, and so it takes some time, but it's totally worthwhile to just really take your time, do a good job, and collect all that trash that you possibly can and get it somewhere out of the environment so that it doesn't pollute the fish and the reptiles and the birds and the mammals and the plants and the algae and everything else that's out in the world that could really be impacted by this plastic and other trash that's getting out. Unfortunately, this bag isn't quite as big as I was hoping it would be. It wasn't quite as big as it could have been, because unfortunately, just as I started to do this cleanup, my trash grabbers broke. So it means there was stuff out in the water that was a little ways out, couldn't quite reach just with my hands. could have gotten with the trash grabbers, but next time we have to replace those and come back and try this again next month. But yeah, so I hope that you will join me with this effort. I hope that you'll pick a spot and pick a frequency and go out there and help make the world a more beautiful place. Let me know in the comments where you're going to go and if you're going to join me on this little sort of year-long challenge, if you will, the trash cleanup challenge. I'm not sure that I'm going to do videos of every single month, every single cleanup that I do. I will definitely, though, be posting information on what I find and, you know, places to take the trash and ways of getting involved in cleanup efforts on my Instagram account over the course of the year. And that's always in the link down in the description of each video that I make. So by all means, follow me there and share pictures of the trash that you're finding as well. There are also many great organizations that are linked in with Instagram and other sort of social media pages, platforms that do cleanups and that can provide resources on how to go about finding a spot and doing a cleanup, and also just sort of bolstering each other and encouraging each other to go out and keep cleaning up that trash. It feels daunting sometimes, but it is very, very much worth the effort that you put in. So I hope you join me. I hope we make 2022 a cleaner year by all the work that we do. Thank you very much for the view, and until next time, enjoy the natural world.